Welcome to Gutter Talk, the show all about comics and graphic novels. In this episode, we've got highlights from the Montreal Comic Arts Festival. We're talking Free Comic Book Day, Jurassic League, and Scotty Young's new series. I'm your host, Matt Mitchell. Before we jump into things, remember to like this video and subscribe if you want to see when new ones are posted. Let's start it off with the Free Comic Book Day issues. If you don't know, every year the first Saturday in May is Free Comic Book Day. Local stores will receive comics from various publishers that are sponsoring the event, and they give those out for free and often have sales and different deals running depending on the store. These are some of the issues I picked up that I haven't read. We've got a Stranger Things issue, the 25th anniversary of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a 2022 special issue of Doctor Who, Brandon Sanderson's Dark One. I don't think this was a new issue for this year. I think it was a previous Free Comic Book Day issue that a store I went to just had left over. And lastly, Primos, number 1 of 4. This is a special Free Comic Book Day edition that has the Spanish edition included, which is why I picked it up. I thought it was kind of interesting that you have the English comic as well as the same comic in Spanish, so you could kind of use it to learn the language a little bit. That's pretty cool. First up for the issues I read is Dark Crisis Special Edition. This was a very meta issue. It's kind of like self-referential of the Justice League existing and fans of the Justice League, and then it just had a preview of pages that are going to be in the first issue. So it wasn't really that spectacular for that reason, but it did bring up the question of what is your favorite Justice League roster? Everyone has their favorite. Who would you pick to be in your lineup? For me, you gotta have Batman and Superman leading the way. You can't have one or the other. You know, they kind of keep each other in check. And then you gotta have Flash for his really strong abilities, Oracle for all the tech stuff, and then someone like John Constantine or Zatanna for the magic occult knowledge that they have. And lastly, you gotta have someone like Plastic Man, who is kind of the butt of the joke for the reader. You know, they're underestimated. Everyone's like, how is this person in the Justice League with all these gods, aliens, and like super powerful people, but then they always randomly end up being super useful? So let me know what 6 heroes you would have in your Justice League roster in the comments. Next I read Spider-Man Venom, which was not what I expected. I thought this was going to be, you know, like a team-up issue or a versus issue. It was just 2 completely different stories, one with Spider-Man, one with Venom. And basically, I'm completely out of the loop on what's happening in the Venom comics right now, so I didn't really know what was going on. And the Spider-Man issue was kind of funny, and it was just like a little battle, which was kind of entertaining, but mostly a letdown as well. Then I read Red Sonja, She-Devil with a Sword, and I thought this was a reprint of like her number 1, like her first solo issue, but it turned out to just be this random classic story or a story in that same classic style, which is fine. It was still a decent story, and I don't have a lot of knowledge on Red Sonja, so it was good to get some more background about her character. Lastly, I took a look at the special issue of Nottingham, which was by far the best thing I picked up. Unlike all the other Free Comic Book Day issues that were just full of advertisements on every other page, or reprints, or different things like that, this was an original story just released for this event and had no advertisements until the very back pages. So for that alone, it was good. But the story was also really interesting and appealing to me as well. It's kind of a twist on Robin Hood. The Merry Men are like this violent gang. So it was a very good peek at the Nottingham series and actually has me interested in seeking out the rest of the graphic novels. That's all I picked up for Free Comic Book Day. Let me know what you picked up, and now let's move on to the new comics of the month. Up first is Jurassic League. It's the Justice League, but dinosaurs. The first issue was just introducing the different heroes in their dinosaur forms. There isn't much story-wise, but there was some fun with like the naming of the dinosaur versions and like an editor joke with, you know, translated from human because obviously they all speak dinosaur. But story-wise, you know, there's not much there yet. It's mostly the artwork. You're there to see these big hulking dinosaurs, and that's what I really enjoyed about this issue, and I'm definitely looking forward to more. From Marvel this month, I read Han Solo and Chewbacca #2, and I liked how this issue showed Greedo for the terrible, incompetent bounty hunter you kind of expect him to be. And it looks like there's going to be more trouble with introduction of Marshal Buck Vanctu. Probably said that wrong. Don't kill me, Star Wars fans. But this is shaping up to be a good series. I'm enjoying it so far. So it's a good time to jump into this before too many issues are out and you have a hard time finding them. Also from Marvel was Spider-Gwen, Gwen-Verse #2, where we were introduced to 2 new Gwen variants, one Captain America and one that I'll leave for you to discover. So far in this series, I'm not really enjoying the villain Finale. She's this pop starlet who's like, I want to become a living meme, and you're just like, what does that mean? What does it mean? It's the stupidest plot in all of comic books. Not like plot as in story-wise, it's like the worst like evil scheme a villain has ever had. They want to become a meme? Like what the heck? But I do like the villains that she's hired to go after the variants, the Terminal 6. Characters like Dr. Cephalopod have a really neat design. And there's another like evil Gwen variant who was this super sidekick Nightbird who has now become evil and is also teamed up with these guys hunting down the variants. We'll have to see how things pan out and if Finale becomes like a lot more interesting villain. She did kill a lot of people, but you know, her plan and her reasons for it are just kind of stupid. The last comic I want to talk about this month is the first thing I've read from Scotty Young since his I Hate Fairyland series, and that's Twig #1. This is a fantasy series set in a world where like mountains and trees have these like gross weird teeth, and our hero sets out to become a placeling because his father dies. It's always someone's father dying. But anyways, a placeling is like this person who goes out on a journey to do these different missions. We don't know exactly what it is yet or what he's going to have to do, but he's kind of reluctant to take over this position. His father died and that's why he has to do it, but he really wanted to become a chef. And this series also features a lot of great art with these fantastical landscapes, and the characters have this cute look and personalities that you just can't help but like. So definitely have a look if you're interested in comics like this that aren't just like chock full of superheroes. Now you might know that I just recently moved to Montreal, and as it turns out, just in time for the Montreal Comic Arts Festival. Unlike the Vancouver and Toronto festivals, this one was outdoors, taking over a big section of Saint Denis, which I thought was a great way to introduce passerbys to comics and an event that they might not have known was going on. There were a bunch of artists on hand signing comics and doing live sketches, plus plenty of interesting looking comics for sale, but unfortunately I can't read French well enough yet, so maybe next year. They also had these cool art installations showing things like important moments from Quebec comic history, and my personal favorite were all these different panels from various comics that were set in Montreal with their maps showing the exact locations the panels were featuring. That's all for this month's episode. I'll leave you with the rest of the MCAF highlights, and thanks for watching.
Un épisode adolescent. Ouais. Donc, tu vas voir la façon qu'il dessine.
Donc James, vous allez